24 hours after the cricketing world was rocked with the news that Shakib Al Hasan has been banned from international cricket for failure to report bookie approaches. We're going to have a quick reaction from Sambit, editor-in-chief, ESPN Cricinfo, in our studios in Mumbai, as well as Mohammad Isam, Bangladesh correspondent, who's been covering this story from the very beginning. Isam, let me just come to you. It's been a day for Bangladesh to for it to sink in, to take this news in. What's the reaction been like?
It's shock and outrage. At the end of Shakib's press conference yesterday, his first captain, Habib Al Bashar, said it's a sad day for Bangladesh cricket, and I think it is going to be a sad period for Bangladesh cricket as well. The newspapers have all gone for front page headlines, red headlines, almost like an emergency situation. It is a huge day in Bangladesh cricket. You have the greatest sports person in Bangladesh's history implicated in this whole mess, and Shakib is now punished. He won't be around for 1 year for sure, and then he has a 1 year suspended sentence. So the immediate reaction has been outrage, but also a lot of people have come out to support him.
Now that I was going to come to that. Is it outrage for the player that's been banned, or outrage for the actions that have led to this ban? And is it more sympathetic towards, because I'm seeing the social media posts from Shakib's teammates, and it all seems to say that we are with Shakib, he's going to come back. I believe the Prime Minister as well, Sheikh Hasina, pointed that out when she spoke on the matter, that Shakib will come back from this, or the BCB stands with him. So is the outrage more because it's the player, their big hero and icon, that's been banned, or is it more because of the actions?
Certainly, it's the player who's getting all the attention here. It's not the action. I think it's a very small amount of people are saying that they're analyzing the action or reading through the investigative report that the ICC had produced with the press release. It's very clear that there is a lot of regret among the fans and among his teammates that Shakib is gone. Not what he had done, but Shakib is gone for a year. They're gonna miss him. I think that's where the focus lies.
All right, then let's temper this now, Sambit. In your perspective, we've seen high-profile cricketers being banned for a year for indiscretions that we thought were not proportionate. Where does this stand in terms of a Smith-Warner incident, and do you understand the sympathy from the Bangladesh fans, or is this far graver an offence?
I mean, regret is certainly understandable. It's an incredibly sad day when a player of that profile or that sort of caliber gets banned for a year. But I find it hard to feel sympathy. In fact, I would go so far as to say that given the nature of the lapse, the crime or guilt, whatever you can say, Shakib has actually got away lightly. I think the punishment that Smith and Warner got for ball tampering was far more harsh,
which of course was imposed by their respective board. And
so
not the ICC.
I'm not blaming the ICC for doing this. I'm just saying that just looking at the quantum of punishment. I think people in Bangladesh I can understand how emotional they are,
right,
because like India, maybe 10 years ago, cricket is linked to national identity, and he's the biggest icon that they've had. So I can understand the emotional reaction to it, but I think everybody who follows cricket and loves cricket must get this into their head, and this is a very big deal. It's not a minor thing.
In terms of cricketing sins, this is right up there?
Yeah, I mean, right below match fixing, of course, actual match fixing. But we have to understand that not reporting willfully over and over again is a pretty big deal, because to stop match fixing, you have to stop this first.
Yeah. And let's just have a look at the code that Shakib Al Hasan has been found to have been guilty in breach of, and it's Article 2.4.4 of the ICC's anti-corruption code, and it essentially is failing to disclose to the ACU without unnecessary delay full details of approaches, and the minimum sanction for that is 6 months and a maximum of 5 years. So now this could have gotten a lot worse. Shakib of course has chosen not to contest the charge, which also gives you an idea of how this could have gone had Shakib decided to initially not cooperate with the way the ICC investigated. But do you go with that, Isam, what Sambit said, that he's actually, if you look at it from the yardstick of the authorities and the ICC and the code itself, which could have seen him banned for 5 years, he's actually gotten away easy?
Looking at the investigative report that they produced, I was pretty shocked. I mean, it was quite sordid reading. I immediately shared it with all the journalists, and we were all holed up at the BCB, and it was everything went quiet when we read that transcript or that exchange. That repeatedly Shakib had the opportunity to report this thing to the authorities. Nowadays the cricket boards themselves have an anti-corruption unit. The BCB has its own, and the anti-corruption officer is always with the team. It's also there to help the players how to report. Sometimes they just have to report to him, and he'll convey to the ICC by copying the players in the email or in the message that they're sending. So now the processes are so easy, and we should also keep in mind that Shakib had twice reported it in 2008 and 2010, very early in his career. In 2010, Tamim did the same with Shakib. They reported an approach to corrupt approach. So and with someone who has been playing so much of T20 cricket, they go to these tournaments, they get these briefings ahead of every tournament. You have phone numbers sticking outside in banners, outside dressing rooms these days. So it just it doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Why he didn't report this?
Yeah, it just makes it all the more inexplicable, like you have pointed out, and your pieces on the side also carry the same. He was someone who was outspoken against the inclusion of Mohammad Ashraful when he returned. He has reported, as you mentioned in the past, and that is at the crux of this entire investigation. Sambit, why did Shakib not report a player of that profile?
I can't find any excuses. I was thinking of, when I was writing a piece yesterday, I was thinking of plausible excuses. There's none.
Yes.
There's simply, so only he can explain. It's not a question, and I only hope that there's nothing more.
And let's just go back to you, Isam, on this. What was his reaction like yesterday when he did address the press? This would be, I think, without a doubt, the darkest day in his cricketing career, and the fact that he had to man up to the press at that point. Now, he has received plaudits for admitting his mistakes and whatnot from within the Bangladesh community. But what was the body language like from someone like yourself who has covered Shakib in his glorious days for Bangladesh cricket as well?
He doesn't have anything other than deadpan, even in his best time. So at his worst, he was pretty much the same. Not much giving away. I shouted in that question, why did you do it? Why didn't you report it? But I felt for a moment that he wanted to reply, but then someone from the BCB stopped him from replying, and then the press conference was over in a few minutes. So I just felt that maybe there was a moment when he was about to reply to me, give an answer. The whole press conference was hopeful for an answer, but there were a lot of questions that we wanted to ask him went unanswered, and his body language, which we later picked up, that he was trying to escape. He didn't want to be with so many journalists or anyone around him that he wasn't feeling comfortable with it. He rushed out of the ground and he went back home.
Just to close up, just tell us from outside Bangladesh, people who follow cricket from outside Bangladesh, what Shakib means to the nation, even beyond cricket or sport. You are the Prime Minister, obviously, who got into this immediately almost. Where does he stand in terms of just figures of public importance in Bangladesh?
Shakib is right up there. Shakib is the most popular figure. If you look beyond sports, any walk of life, Shakib is number one. I would probably say that Mashrafi is someone who comes close, but after the World Cup, obviously Shakib has gone into a different level. So I think that's the biggest sort of regret, that after such a World Cup campaign, when so many people thought that he was probably the deserving man of the series to play of the tournament. But then this happens, and you can imagine the scale of this fall. In terms of Bangladesh's society, Shakib is not just popular among sports fans. Kids love Shakib Al Hasan. There's a very famous ad quite early in his career where he's called in Bengali Bangladesh's Jan, the heart of Bangladesh. He's indeed. If the cricket team is the heart of Bangladesh, he's the core of that heart. He's such a big figure here that it's a head spinning fall for him.
Right, Isam, thanks very much. Final word from you, Sambit. What happens now? We all just take this 1 year off and count the days down to Shakib's return, as it was the case with Smith and Warner after a point, or could there be more done now, given the profile of the player that's fallen?
The thing with match fixing or anything associated with match fixing, you think there are lots of things that are bubbling under all
Yeah,
this.
I mean, there's an IPL reference here. Indian fans would definitely feel, or global fans would feel there's more.
Nobody will ever know the full extent of any controversy that breaks, any scandal that breaks. You will never know the full. You will never go to the bottom of it. That will never happen. The only thing, the only positive that I'll say, if there's any that comes out of this, is that this is again, once again, a big warning for players that, hey, this can happen to you.
Yeah.
And when this happens to you, everything falls and is taken away from your feet. The world collapses under your feet.
Yeah.
I hope that's a lesson that goes out to cricketers in worldwide.
All right. Thank you very much, Sambit Bal, Editor-in-Chief, ESPN Cricinfo, and thank you to Mohammad Isam, our Bangladesh correspondent as well. You will have the very latest from this story as it develops on espncricinfo.com.
Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and leave your comments in the comment section below. Click on the bell icon for notifications.